Hey guys, what's going on? Oink here, and finally the wait is over. We have GT6 in the PS3 ready to go, and I'm going to start my coverage of all the stuff I'm going to do inside GT6 with this video. This is the first GT6 video, and this is how it's going to work. So we've got a bunch of different events in different areas of the game, and I'm going to kind of go through all of it and cover it in different ways. So let's start off with these kind of main events. So we start off in Novice. So if I go in here, you'll kind of see how it's laid out. So we've got three individual events. We've got two mini cups where you do single races, and then a championship. As well as that, there's also the coffee break challenge and national B license. So how it's going to work is you'll have a single video which will cover the car that I'm using and any tuning setups, any particular settings that I'm using, and general tips and things like that for the car. It will then include some highlights from the races. So for example, Sunday Cup includes the two races, High Speed Ring and Autumn Ring Mini. So it'll include some clips from that, some from Amateur Cup, and then also some from the Championship, which is the one which you have to run all in one go, where you do all three races and it's points based, sums it up at the end. And that will kind of cover the one video, the kind of main events in that one series. And then as an accompaniment video, I'm going to be kind of having like a more general tips, general guide, just something kind of to supplement the original video. So, for example, in this first one, most people are going to be in the car that you have to buy at the start, which is the Honda Fit RS, which is of course a front-wheel drive car. So for this particular video, the accompanying video is going to be a kind of guide on getting used to front-wheel drive cars, basically. So a guide to FF Drivetrain cars. So both the videos will go up at the same time. So you'll find this video, and when you're watching this already, the video for the FF cars is up as well. So if you want some tips and things on FF cars, also you can go and watch that video. There'll be links and annotations to that, and you can find it on my channel. And as separate videos, I'm going to cover the licenses. So soon after these two videos, the National B license will be up in its own video, where I'll go through each different event, play the event, and give a few tips on each one. I think there's 5 different tests in each license. And then there'll also be a little mini video which covers the coffee break challenge from each section. Special events will come to later. That'll be something a little bit different and a little bit off track. So that's pretty much how it's going to go down. Be sure to leave some feedback on this format, and yeah, I'll move on in then to this first event. So as I said, other than a couple people who are going to be having the 15th anniversary edition cars, bonus credits and stuff like that I also have, there will be people that don't, so those people will be starting on the Honda Fit. So for everyone to be on a level playing field, that is the car that I used for this event. With no upgrades, nothing to buy, the car is fine. You can win all the events, no problem, just stock. However, if you do find yourself missing just a few tenths here and there, or a second or two over the couple of laps in each race, buy for 3,000 credits the racing suspension hard. It doesn't require any tuning, you just slap it on there, and I've put my brake balance at 5 on the front and 1 at the rear. You don't need to buy anything else. That's 3,000, and it will get you through get you through all the events in the Novice event without any other credits needing to be spent. Okay, so let's get cracking with the first set of events, which is the Sunday Cup in true Gran Turismo fashion. And we have 2 races in there, as I said, which is High Speed Ring and Autumn Ring Mini. We start with High Speed Ring. Now, for all of this, my driving options is manual, driving line off, blind spot I'm using on for now, active steering off, traction control off, ASM, active stability management off, ABS at 1, and skid recovery off. Now, High Speed Ring is super easy track to drive. The banks on the corners really dig into the front, which give you nice front end grip, and of course this being a front wheel drive car, that just suits it marvelously. So you really don't need to brake too much going into the corners. Got lots of straightaways, so make sure you make the best use out of the draft from the guys ahead of you, and you should come out well on top. This one really wasn't any sort of challenge. Just as I said, you know, on this big long straight and all of the bank sections, make sure you tuck in nicely behind anyone ahead of you to get the best exit speed, and that's what it's all about. Try not to be too slow on the exit there, so you can get really nice good speed on the long straights. We'll move on to Autumn Ring Mini, another track returning to the game from previous versions. And this is a super short track, so we've got 3 laps of this one, and the crucial bit to this is kind of keeping the momentum going. You don't want to be slowing down too much because it's a little bit hilly. There's a couple of uphill sections, and you want to just make kind of best use of the track and getting around your opponents, things like that. So it's quite a narrow track, so really when they go wide, take the opportunity to go down the inside, take them on the outside sometimes if they're going a little bit slowly through the corners, and really, as I said, make best use of the track where you can, and get all those overtakes done as quickly as possible. Try not to get held up behind anyone. So 2 pretty easy races for the Sunday Cup then, and we can move on to what is called the Amateur Cup, which is a 3-race event starting at the new to the game Brands Hatch, and this is the, I think it's called the Indy Circuit. It's the shorter layout of the track here. So I'm going to play the whole lap, given that it's new to the GT series. I figured I'd just play the whole lap, and it's a really short lap anyway, so yeah, I'll go through, instead of just cutting it up little bits there from, you know, tracks that I'm sure you guys know, we'll go through just this whole first lap. For that first corner, or that's actually the second corner, the first corner, watch out, the car will understeer quite heavily out wide, so make sure you hit that apex just right. For the second corner, you're coming down into a blind right-hander, so just make sure you keep the car in. And then you can see here the cars ahead of me kind of taking their line, so I go down the inside. You don't need to brake too much, but the AI seemed to go a little bit slower through there, so I made the most out of that and went down the inside. And then this final big right-hander back onto the main straight again. Try and get a good run out of that. It was not the greatest from me there. I was a little bit slow on the exit, so try and brake earlier and then turn in, hit that apex, and really get a good exit speed coming down back again for turn 1, which is that scary right-hander down the hill. Finishing up then about just over a second ahead there, 1.6 seconds for the first race there at Brands Hatch. And we go to Gran Valley now, another returning track here. Just 2 laps. It's a little bit of a longer track than say, for example, Autumn Ring Mini. So again, I've chopped this one up just to a few little sections of the track, making the overtake there. And it's a pretty easy track to drive in general. The changes in altitude aren't in any places that really make the car handle in a difficult way. Generally speaking, the car doesn't get too much understeer. You can see I go down the inside there and take that guy. And again, make sure a nice exit from this final straight. And I got behind this Pontiac Vibe, big thing of a car. Got a nice good draft, but then annoyingly I pushed wide. You can see a bit of understeer on the exit, put me into the sand, so was slow coming onto this straight, and the MR2 really outpaced me on this straight. It had a better top speed, and I just edged him out by just about 2/10 there, so really crucial to make sure you get a lovely, good smooth run out of that final corner onto the straight, so you got lots of top end speed. And the final race in the Amateur Cup is, again, another new track, I should say, so I'm going to play the whole lap again. This is the Willow Springs International Circuit, so it's the bigger of the two. We also have Streets of Willow, which is the slightly shorter, more compact track here at Willow Springs. This one is, again, all about really good exit speeds. It's a pretty fast-paced track. Most of the corners you can take at or nearly at full throttle if you get, you know, your angle right and you're getting the right lines through the corners. You can go around the outside of those 2 guys there, and then down here. This is a crucial corner which I did kind of mess up. You want to be wider than I was here. I was right on the inside, but you want to be wide and then come down to the right and hit the apex late for that corner, so you get a nice run down the hill here. And then again, I was a bit too close to the left-hand side of the track there, so my run out here onto this big long straight was also less good than it could have been. So not the best lap for me there, but it kind of demonstrates the importance of getting a really nice smooth exit to get that really nice good top speed on these long open straights here. And we got this massive, big, sort of sweeping right-hander for the final turn. It's kind of like a double right-hand final turn, and this is the first time I'd driven the track. This is literally the first lap on Gran Turismo on this track, so really I was kind of feeling it out myself here. As you can see, I just run a little bit wide, keep it on the track just about, and it's got some awesome sounds. If you run off track, you hear all of the gravel like flicking up into the bottom of the car, and it sounds amazing. Not quite sure what they're doing with the tyre sounds. They're a little bit crazy. Sounds like the tyres are getting ripped off the rims, but there we go. Again, with the MR2, with the really good top speed, he managed to keep up with me, only half a second behind at the end there. And that wraps us up with Amateur Cup and Sunday Cup, leaving us just with what is called the Novice Championship, and you'll also unlock the National B license at this stage. So this is the championship, so you've got 3 races, the 2 Brands Hatch variants and the full autumn ring. And what you can do them individually if you want. You just get the single prize money. You don't get anything else, just the races. But to actually complete the championship, you need to do all 3 races in a row, and it works by points. So each time you win a race or come second or whatever, you get a set amount of points, and that totals up at the end. We've already done this first track. This is the short version of Brands Hatch, so I've skipped that one to save us a bit of time. Came first there, will get you 100 points, so I skipped that one again. That's just the exact same one from Brands Hatch earlier on. But now we move to the larger autumn ring, so this is not the mini version. It's about twice the size. You can see there normally, well, for the mini one we were turning right in there, and for the full length we turn left coming down as we go under the bridge for this long left-hander which kind of goes up the hill. Very difficult corner here. Make sure you're kind of double apexing, which I didn't do too well, and a good exit which brings you up the hill. You can kind of hop across the little corners there, go down the inside. Didn't quite get a good run, so I slip back in again behind this guy, who then gets a slow exit onto this final straight, so I end up stuck behind him as we come onto the start-finish line. If you do end up behind someone, you've got a reasonable straight there, so make sure you're getting in the draft, and I take first place in as he comes kind of slow exit on that little technical kink section. That nets me a 140 final lap, and get the win again there by over 3 seconds, so a pretty easy one. And now we move on to the other version of Brands Hatch, which is the long version, and again, because I haven't shown this one yet, no one's really played this, I'm going to show the full lap. It's a slightly longer lap, and I'm going to show my second lap, the first lap again, because this is literally the first time I've played this on Gran Turismo. My first lap was a bit messy, and it didn't show really some particularly good lines, so I didn't think that was going to be useful to you guys. So I've showed the second lap, which was a lot smoother, and generally a much better lap. I think I might beat my first lap by a couple seconds. So you can see this one's actually, it says in the top left with the time, it's at 7:30 PM, so this has got that beautiful day-night cycle, which is obviously in GT6. So the lighting conditions are less than ideal, and for some reason the lights don't seem to illuminate that well. I don't know if it's like a bug or something. I don't know if that's going to be updated. Hopefully something, because like this is on main beam, like you can't really tell that the lights are on. They have like reflections on the signs. You can see on the left there, the signs do light up as if the lights are on, but and you can see like kind of they're a little bit kind of lighting up the track, but not that much. So I don't know, maybe if it gets darker you really notice them more, but I'm not really sure. Maybe that's something that will become apparent later on. Anyway, look at that beautiful sunset there as we come across the nice new Brands Hatch. Now this is again quite a fast-paced track. Make sure you kind of hit the apexes. If you don't hit those apexes, you'll find the car does understeer, and you might end up wide in the dust, in the gravel on the outside of the corners, and you'll lose a lot of time in there. It really slows you down. So yeah, make sure you really focus on those apexes and try and keep your general top speed as good as you can. Try not to use second gear too much, because you won't find much torque at the top end of gear 2. So try and keep it in gear 3 through all of those the fast, the high speed corners around there. As you can see, it wasn't 3 seconds, it was more like 8 seconds that was faster there. So that wraps up the third race in the championship, which gets me all 300 points, 3 wins. That gets me gold in the championship. So we're coming to the end. You also get a trophy for getting this. You'll also get a Renault Clio RS, I think it's called, which is also nice because you can choose the colour which you get it in, so you don't have to take it in yellow. I quite liked the yellow actually, but I already had the the other car in yellow, so I think I went with white or something. Anyway, that wraps up this first GT6 video. It's been a bit longer because obviously the first video had a few things to say at the beginning. Be sure, if you're having trouble kind of dealing with the FF cars, you can already go check out my video, which will give you some tips and tricks to get started with front wheel drive cars, some tuning information, you know, really help you guys understand how best to drive an FF car. Other than that, be sure to subscribe for more GT6 content, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.